Leaders of developing nations are pointing the finger at richer countries for not pulling their weight in the fight against climate change. Heads of state have given speeches at the COP27 summit in Egypt. A key issue is financing for adaptation and mitigation strategies, which the developing world cannot achieve on its own.
Regrettably, the ground reality is that the fossil fuel-based industrialized countries of G7 and G20, who have been the main promoters of green hydrogen, are now backtracking to use fossil fuel. Such double standards are unacceptable. Developed nations should be giving leadership to overcome climate challenges rather than abdicating their responsibilities.
Our voice must be heard, as too should our demands and expectations. Those mostly responsible for the climate crisis must listen and prioritize climate finance to help prevent disasters and climate victims recover.
Our continent will need a predictable, appropriate, and at-scale funding stream and technological support. This then places a great deal of responsibility on developed economies to honor their commitments to those countries with the greatest need.
And Julie Yu is covering the climate summit for us. She has more from Egypt.
The UN Climate Change Pavilion is located in the Blue Zone inside the Sharm el-Sheik International Convention Center. Here you can find more than 150 pavilions set up by different countries and organizations. That's almost double the number seen at COP26 last year in Glasgow. It's kind of like being at a travel expo with various booths decorated in unique ways to showcase individual national heritage and climate plans. In the Asia section, nations like Indonesia, China, and Korea are showing off the colors of their flags, displaying attention-grabbing wall of images and innovative technological solutions for environmental problems. Now, Singapore, for the first time at the COP conference, has set up a pavilion as well, evoking a tropical vibe with the theme centering around building a future of green possibilities and the country's Green Plan 2030. Through its layout and design, it's showcasing how the city-state is actively planting the seeds of change in its economy, environment, and society to achieve a net zero future by 2050.
When we look at COP, there are also now businesses and youth coming in besides just governments and NGOs. So really, we think this is a chance for us to showcase Singapore's commitment to climate action, our originality, as well as our partnerships at Egypt this year as our first pavilion.
Singapore is also providing a space for various panel discussions, fireside chats, and presentations based on the different thematic days in line with the COP27 program. Technology, such as virtual reality stations, also bringing the country's sustainability efforts to life. In October, Singapore raised its climate ambition to achieve net zero emissions by 2050 and enhanced its 2030 nationally determined contribution to cut emissions to 60 million tons from 65 million tons by 2030. Elsewhere at COP27, pavilions by major emitter nations are representing a significant presence. Those of Saudi Arabia and Australia, for example, are showing off their national environmental efforts on large screens, while low-lying coastal and small island nations are using their pavilions to send sobering message to the world. The time is running out, and the developed nations should take action to limit global warming. And for the first time, you can find a strong presence of pavilions focusing on youth and children, as well as food and agriculture, reflecting the close links between climate change and agri-food systems.
And for more, Julie Yu joins us live from the COP27 summit. Julie, we just heard some scathing words from leaders of developing nations. Now they want more help to fight climate change. How will COP27 address this issue?
Such as France say that trillions of dollars must be paid for climate finance, possibly from debt cancellation or through the IMF. We also hear people such as a former U.S. Prime Minister, UK that is, Boris Johnson, saying not all major economies have the resources at their disposal. Now, the spotlight has been on the U.S. and China, the world's top two emitters, to step up and pay their fair share in helping low-income nations hit by extreme weather. Now, this loss and damage issue will likely define COP27, and the debate could get heated.
Julie, you also mentioned thematic days. These will be in line, as you mentioned as well, with the COP27 program. What can we expect in the days ahead from this summit?
Yeah, tomorrow the focus is on finance, and that's one of the biggest subjects here at COP27. And as you mentioned, there's the report of the trillions of dollars needed for climate action in developing nations in the coming years, but also discussions about loss and damage compensation or reparations or funding, with the developing countries experiencing the spate of extreme weather conditions, looking to wealthier nations, the major emitters, to pay for the impact of climate change. So that's certainly a contentious issue. And also in the coming days, the delegates will also discuss decarbonization, energy, water, and biodiversity, plus adaptation, which is something that many scientists and government leaders say we need to put into the heart of our action on climate change, alongside limiting global temperature rises as well. And towards the end of COP27, it's about solutions and potential agreements, but there's obviously skepticism given that since the COP26 in Glasgow, only 29 out of 194 countries have come forward with strengthened national plans for reducing emissions. Back to you, Wei-Su.
Thanks for that, Julie. Julie, you were there speaking to us from Sharm el-Sheik, Egypt. Now she's reporting live from, of course, the UN climate change talks, also known as COP27.